Welcome to the fourth video of this series. In this video, we'll be discussing math section in detail. So, as we have discussed before, like maths is fundamental in roles such as software developer or an applied scientist or a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. Maths would be very critical in your day-to-day work as well as long-term research. So that is why we test maths in first place. At the same time, a lot of subjects and topics in your B.Tech program would develop on top of the concepts that you learned in class 10th, 11th and 12th. And these are the only topics you would be testing in this exam. You won't be testing all the topics of 10th, 11th and 12th. Alright. There is also a famous quote by one of the Turing Award winner. Like Turing Award is one of the highest honorary awards in the field of artificial intelligence. And like Peter Knorr is the person who won that award and has said that like computer science is mathematics in action. That is, the application of mathematics or practical use of mathematics is computer science. So again, it's a very broad thought or a broad quote, but I am sure you get the essence that computer science, mathematics is fundamental to computer science. Alright. So let's move on. In this video, we will be discussing which topics are relevant to the NSAT exam, and we will also be solving a few questions. So as you can see on the screen, like these are the basic topics, like most of you might have already heard them before. Number system is one topic, arithmetic, basic algebra like inequalities, and practical applied mathematics concepts like speed, profit and loss, interest, such concepts. And like this is the division for class 10th mathematics, where we would be having around 10 questions, and then in class 11th and 12th mathematics we would be also covering a few topics like basics of sets and functions, relations, permutation and combination, basic AP, GP, HP series, differentiation and integration. Of course, like a lot of concepts in B.Tech program would be building up on basic calculus that you learned in class 11th and 12th. And matrices and determinants, that is also very critical for the B.Tech program. And probability and statistics is like, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of probability and statistics specifically in the field of artificial intelligence and data science. So that is why it is also crucial here. Now, these are the broad topics that we will be covering in NSAT exam. Now, let us also try to solve a few questions and just get a hang of what kind of questions you can expect in the final exam. Alright, so let us start with the question of the first section, that is 10th class mathematics. So, if you can see this question on the screen, the question basically describes a person, Gaurav, traveling from Mumbai to Pune on a bullet train, and we are given two statements. First is Gaurav's average speed during the trip is higher than 55 meters per second. Second statement is Gaurav's average speed during trip was lower than 65 meters per second. So here the 2 points of the limit are 55 and 65, both in meters per second, and Gaurav is traveling in between that. This is what we are able to understand from statement 1 and 2. Next, the question asked is Gaurav's average speed during the trip less than 200 kilometers per hour? And we have a few options. So the option 1 describes, to answer the above question, each statement is independently sufficient. That means that if only statement 1 was true, we can derive or we can come up to the answer for the given question. That is what option 1 describes, that either statement 1 or statement 2, either of these statements is sufficient. If they are true, then we can get to the answer of the given question. Option 2 describes that to answer the above question, both statements are together sufficient, but neither statement is independently sufficient. That means that if statement 1 and statement 2 are correct, only then we can get the answer of the given question. If only one statement is correct, then we can't give the answer. So that is the difference between option 1 and 2. In option 1, it is statement 1 or statement 2 is correct. In option 2, statement 1 and statement 2 is correct. Alright. So that is the difference between option 1 and 2. In option 3, it is given to answer the above question, both statements are together not sufficient. That is, even if we combine both the statements and assuming both of them are true, still we cannot say that if the answer is actually correct. In option 4, it is given to answer the above question, statement 1 is independently sufficient, but statement 2 is not independently sufficient. So that is, as it is self-explanatory, that using statement 1 we can answer this question, but statement 2, using statement 2 we cannot answer this question. Option 5 is statement 2 is independently sufficient. That is, using just statement 2 we can answer this question, but using just statement 1 we cannot answer this question. These are the 5 options that are here, and the question is, as you can see here, the trick is that the statement 1 and 2 describe the speed in meters per second, and in question it is given in 200 kilometers per hour. So here what we need to do is, first we need to convert the speed into same units. So let us say if we convert 55 meters per second and 65 meters per second into kilometers per hour. So 55 comes to, let's say, 198 kilometers per hour, and 65 comes to 234 kilometers per hour. And in question the speed given is 200 kilometers per hour. So now statement 1 and 2 describes that if the speed is between 198 and 234, and the question asks that is speed greater than 200 or not. Okay, the question describes, is the speed less than 200 kilometers per hour or not. So from statement 1 and statement 2 we can come between the range 198 and 234. Now the question is asking that is the speed less than 200 or not. So here, using just statements 1 and 2 we cannot describe this, because speed can be, let's say, 199 or 205. Both these cases can be true, hence we cannot, using just these two statements, we cannot deduce or derive to the conclusion that Gaurav's average speed is less than 200. Alright, and based on that, the option that is most suitable is option number 3, that is, to answer the above question, both statements are together not sufficient. Alright, so that is with respect to this question. Let's move to next question. Alright, so in next question, we are given that Cinderella is buying shares of Disney. She is buying 63 shares, and the buying price is given 12.49 and selling price is given 100.07. The period of investment is 7 years, and we are also given that at the time of buying and selling there is a transaction charge of 101.3%. So now we have to identify that what is our overall return on the investment during this period with this cost price and selling price. So now glance over the options. The options are 900, 700, 500, 300, which have a huge gap between them. So let us try first with approximation, because since the gaps are huge and the calculations are very ugly, so we should always try first to just go with the approximate thing. So since we have to calculate percentage return on investment, the number of shares does not matter how many shares we buy, return is independent of that. Then the cost price that we are given is 12.49. So let us assume it is 12.5, and the selling price is, let us assume it is 100 instead of 100.07. So now this is the initial price and this is the final price. Between that, since 7 years is given, now here we are not asked what is the return on year, we are asked the overall return. So 7 years also does not matter if it is 7 or 8. So we just need to check that okay, initial price was 12.5 and the final price was 100. So now what is the gain in this? So roughly if you see, it is 8 times gain, that is from 12.5 into 8 is equal to 100, which roughly translates to around 700%. Now, so that is one of the options, that is option 2 is 700. Now if you even calculate it, so let us say if we actually also add the transaction charge in it, so from 100 if we deduce 1.3%, that would be transaction charge, that would roughly, let's say, come to around $1.4, $1.5, and if we deduce that would, selling price would come at around $99. And same for the buying price, if we remove that, the buying price would also slightly deviate. That wouldn't lead to a large deviation of, let's say, 500%, because 500% would mean 6x gain, and 6x gain means that 12.5 into 6x would roughly amount to $75. We are clear that that wouldn't be the gap, so 100.07 can go to 99 or 98, but it won't go to 75. Similarly, 900% would mean roughly 10x return, 900% means, so that would roughly amount to $125. So that is also a very huge difference. So since the differences are huge, here we can approximate. In other question, if the options are very close, then we will have to do the calculations also. Alright. Now let us go into the section of class 11th and 12th mathematics. So we'll start with a very simple probability question here. In this question, we are given 3 kind of balls, red, blue and green, and the quantity is also given 5, 4 and 3. Now the question asks this: if 2 balls are drawn at random, what is the probability that they are of different colors? That is, one ball and the other ball, they should be of different colors. So what kind of combinations is favorable for us? So red and blue, or blue and green, or red and green are favorable for us. what can be other combinations that are not favorable? So that is red, red, blue, blue, and green, green. So since the unfavorable combinations are a smaller subset, let us try to calculate them and subtract it from 1. That would make our job easy. So what is the probability of getting 2 reds plus what is the probability of getting 2 blues plus what is the probability of getting 3 greens, and we subtract this whole from 1. So that would give us the probability of getting balls of 2 different colors. So let us start with so here, since the options are very close, 65, 67, 69 and 71, so hence we need to actually calculate the probability. So what would be the probability of getting 2 reds? So that would be a favorable outcomes upon total outcomes. So favorable outcomes here is 5 and total outcomes would be total number of balls, which would be 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 5, 12. So the first number would be 5 by 12. Then that is the probability of drawing first red ball. Now after drawing that, what is the probability of drawing another red ball from the same pool? So that would, since now there are only 4 red balls left and total number of balls are 11, so the probability of drawing a red ball now is 4 by 11. Similarly, we calculate the probability of finding 2 blue balls, which would roughly be 4 by 12 into 3 by 11. And for 2 successive green balls, it would be 3 by 12 into 2 by 11. So now this is the so now we'll subtract this entire amount from 1, which would give us the probability that we need here. So that would, if we calculate the exact number, that would come to around 71.2, which we can roughly round off to 71, and the option 4 is the correct answer here. So here this is an easy question of probability, but there is also a calculation associated with it, and hence it is added here. In actual exam, the complexity might be slightly higher than that. Alright, let us do another question of calculus. So here a very simple integration is given. The function f of x is given as x minus 7 upon x plus 7 raised to 7. So now, as many of you might have already started calculating how to simplify this equation so that we can integrate easily. So what we can do here is we can simply distribute the numerator so that it looks similar to the denominator. So what we can do here is we can divide the numerator in 2 parts, x plus 7 minus 14. So these would be the 2 parts and the denominator would remain same. So we have divided the overall equation in 2 parts. One is x plus 7 upon x plus 7 raised to 7, and the second term is minus 14 upon x plus 7 raised to 7. So the x plus 7 on left of the first term cancels out. So it turns out to be 1 upon x plus 7 raised to 7, which is approximately x plus 7 raised to minus 6. And the second term is minus 14 into x plus 7 raised to minus 7. So these are the 2 terms. Now let us integrate them individually. So for the first term, x plus 7 raised to minus 6, the integration comes out to be x plus 7 raised to minus 5 upon minus 5. And for the second term, so we can pull 14 out of the integration. So we just need to integrate x plus 7 raised to minus 7. So when we integrate it, it comes out to be x plus 7 raised to minus 6 upon 6. Minus 14 upon minus 6 is 7 by 3. So the final answer comes out to be 7 by 3 into x plus 7 raised to minus 6 minus x plus 7 raised to minus 5 from the first term divided by 5, which is option 3, which is the correct answer here. So that is with respect to the overall math section and the video series of NSAT. All the very best for your NSAT exam. Thank you.